one favor before we rock.
It's already rocking, and I could do a million favors.
Stay out of arguing in the card porn comments, okay?
Oh,
you're bigger than that. You're bigger
Mark,
than that.
Are you starting this episode off by saying that you are card porn? Is that why you want him to stop arguing with you?
No, but I will tell you this. I like to pretend I'm in the no cage. And I can't feel more left out than anybody that a lot of people know who card porn is.
Yeah.
Like it's fully revealed in certain circles. I am not in that circle.
Do you want to be?
No, but I think you want to. It's like you want to know whatever. You want to know who fucking Yoda is. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's a collector just like us, who has good intentions, and we all are trying to do our best. So, this gentleman sitting.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, this gentleman sitting across from me, we got to know each other about a year and change ago. When we met, his vision. This is someone that is very passionate about anything that they do. And his vision was to bring a hobby shop to New York City, right? There was nothing in New York City where people would go hang out, watch sports, buy and sell cars, trade. And this gentleman, Mr. Mark Zablow from Bleaker Trading, had a vision, a passion to do that. New York's expensive. It's really difficult to do that. And here we are about a year later, and I wanted to touch base. I wanted to have an episode where we hear from what's inside of Bleaker Trading, what's new, what's going on. Unless you live under a rock, you've been to a Bleaker trade night, whether that's the Card Ladder guys, Card Talk, Don Diego, or millions of other trade nights that they've hosted. A lot of times on their own dime, ordering pizza, putting out a good vibe for people to come and hang out. They've done amazing things for New York City. And I wanted to have you on to kind of get an update, Mark, what's going on, what the future holds, what you guys are working on with National. There's something that you're doing with Red Bull, and I'm a soccer player, so that's really close to my heart. So without further ado, man, a friend, a mentor, someone who's believed in me since day one, Mr. Mark Zablow from Bleaker Trading. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back, boys.
All right, let's just jump right in. We've talked about the hobby, going through cycles. We talked about a crazy spend. We talk about, people coming in, companies coming in, you name it, people making money. And then we'll talk about how, a peak happens and then there's a downtrend and you get people exiting the hobby, you get people losing money, people buying high and selling low. And, there are a lot of people who don't know all of the facts. But from an outsider perspective looking in, and I'll give you the chance here to kind of correct it, I guess, is – some people might look at what just happened with coffee breakers, not knowing what the actual deal is, and say, "Wow, Bleaker, are they really a casualty of the hobby? Did they get too big for their britches? Did they spend too much money in a time where everything was booming, and all of a sudden there's the market correction, and they have to go and go put their head in the sand?" That's not what happened. So no one's heard from you. In this type of a forum. Why don't you tell folks what the real deal is instead of, YouTube videos that might not have the actual information?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about with YouTube videos that don't have information, Cage.
That's what I do. I make YouTube videos with no information.
There we go. And look, you don't hear from me because, as Suge said, if, you want to be somewhere where the CEO's all up in the videos, and
making noises.
Then come to Bleaker Trading. More people know Jake and Jess than they know me at this point. So, Cage, we miss you. We haven't seen you in a long time. I'm sure if you had been here, maybe some of what's going on could have been a lot clearer out to the market.
I guess see.
We'll see. But no, look, Andrew. Overall, I think you hit it right on the head. We woke up in 2020 with no hobby presence for New York City. Us doing what we do well, where I make my living at Cogent, at our marketing agency, experiences, influence. That's what we peddle. That's what we know how to create. So our focus and our goal was, as collectors and hobbyists, can we kind of put New York City on the map? Can we create that hobby shop hangout for us? Not really knowing what that even would be on day one, really deeming it more of a social club or a clubhouse than anything. And you even go back to our first customer, Nat Turner. Hey, what do you guys sell? We took out what we had in our personal collection. We didn't have a GTS relationship, but we sold them our early Prism boxes and some fun LeBron year stuff, and slowly started figuring out that there was a need for the hobby to get together and really build a community down here. And so when you talk about the victim of the hobby and the economy right now, we're actually the least amount of worried or impacted by the economy and the hobby. And that's just really if you know anything about our business and you know anything about New York City from 2020 to today. Most people commenting probably are not from New York and haven't been here. But the reality of it is if you took any real estate in 2020 in New York City, you most likely got a really good rent deal. In our situation, we got a lot of free rent and we got a very advantageous long-term lease. If you've been to our space, you know the uniqueness, not just of the inside, but I'd also say our backyard as well. That's kind of, especially during COVID, made it really a retreat for us. And as the world kind of started to turn, we got offered an even bigger opportunity from our landlord to combine two backyards and for some more, let's call it free and advantageous rent, take on a retail space. At that same kind of turn of the curve, GTS had been approaching us about taking us opening up a retail presence and giving us access to product to be able to do that. And so taking advantage of, let's call it very good rent, a growing brand, a built-in New York audience that's kind of thirsty for the product, we realized that this was something that we wanted to test and learn, and if anything, expand. And quickly, I think we learned a couple key things. One, when it comes to running retail, not my expertise.
Well, it's a completely different business.
And I've never done it before, and holy shit, do I never want to do it again. If you want to get into why I hate it, let's just go into something that, sorry to pause on it, I just want to be very careful.
I grew up in retail. It's hard not to hate retail. It's 24/7.
But take one step back. I'm fine for that. I'm fine for what it's going to be. But when you wake up every night looking at what's going on in the hobby of places getting robbed, and they're cutting holes in the ceiling, and they're tasing people, and they're breaking into the Mambas of the world, and we don't have that inventory, you know. But we're in the West Village of New York City, like, you know, it's happening around us. It's scary. It's not what I'm used to. And then on the flip side, when it happened to us, and the reason you didn't hear about it is because it happened to us by juveniles. And I don't want to speak too much more on it for their sake, but seeing kids in handcuffs, young kids in handcuffs, and spending hours with our team dealing with that, it's just not what we got into that part of it for. Combine that with something I learned while we were enjoying our free rent and advantageous rent period, which was, you know how much money it takes to stack a retail store? You know how much money we would have to raise to go do that. So when we talk about being affected by the economy or affected by the downturn of the hobby, we're in a good place. We're in a store in New York City where collectors are walking in daily begging us to liquidate them and buy their collection. Love you guys. I can admit it, not that rich. You need a staff, 5 to 10 people. Cage, we've had long talks about how aggressive you need to be to break.
Yep.
The amount of inventory, which we never had allocation like that, we're in year one. You don't get allocation in year one, right? We're turning that corner now of our relationship with GTS. So for us, there is that pivot and there was that crossroad and that conversation to really understand, where do we get the 7 figures to go do that? Now, you can say go raise money. Absolutely. But if you've ever raised money before, I'm not sure if either of you have, but I have. I've raised money and won. I've raised money and lost. I've lost with your former boss, Andrew, and I've had to go have that conversation with him. If you're not passionate about something, you can't take money from people. And secondly, I started looking at our business and said, what does the hobby need from Bleaker? What was our mission from day one? Bring something the hobby was missing. We always said, if it doesn't elevate the hobby, we're not going to do it. Now let's get into rumors. There's rumors that there's a handful of card shops opening in New York City and the greater New York area. From what I understand, some of them are having a hard time recreating what we've recreated because they can't afford the rents, because New York City rents have gone that far up. So when our landlord says to us, hey, if you want to give me back the keys next door, I'll gladly pay you to walk away from it. And I'm going to cut off that half of the backyard, still do your events, but I'm going to bring in someone from double your rent. We had a window. Do we want to make the expense to run this store when our rent period expires? Do we want to go raise money for something we're not 100% sure we're passionate and believe in? And do we have to? Is the hobby telling us this is what they need when it's coming? New York is going to have card stores. We know what Jimmy's doing up there. We hear a lot about other things. Sharon's doing her thing at Montessori. Does it need that from Bleecker when we're not going to be the best at it? We're not going to be the most passionate about it, and we're not going to then go raise the money to do it right. And in a very short window, we had a few quick conversations. Dan and Cards and Coffee, which you would say is probably the most abstract brand you could pair with Bleecker, came in incredibly fast, made a very, very, very fair offer. And when I say fair, fair started with the people, making sure that they can continue on as much from a staff standpoint and from a local standpoint. 100+ 5-star reviews on Google naturally was really fantastic for us to build in a few short months. And so to see them want to continue that community was important to us. Number two, we know they're funded. I know their investors personally. Ski and I go way back for decades before there was hobby discussion. So there was a lot of comfort, even though Dan and I are fairly new to getting to know each other over the last year plus. The surrounding investors I know extremely well. And I feel very confident that they will have the ability not only to sustain the very, very generous rent that we're both given, but they'll have the opportunity to put what needs to be in that store that I would never have the money to do.
Okay. So, it sounds to me, Mark, like while it was one combined location under your Bleaker heading, there really was a split. Anybody who's been there knows this is true. It's basically two separate locations that were connected by a yard. There's a retail side and there's the social club side, the Bleaker Trading Store, which is more of a passion project for you. And in order for you to maintain both, we're not saying that a retail store can't survive and or thrive in that location. I think it can. But in order to make it thrive, you were at a crossroads of, do I go raise on something that I'm probably not experienced enough right now to do right off the ground while my rent is advantageous? Or do I at the same time keep my social club side, run that, which I know how to do, and allow, Cards and Coffee to come in with their funding that they already have, you don't have to raise, with their expertise, with their staff, with everything, and basically hit the ground running and provide the retail, from day one, turnkey, that it would take you a while to raise the funds and, and actually get to where they are immediately. It sounds like it makes sense. But the key here, the takeaway is it's not a takeover, it's not a merger, it's not a business combination, it's not Bleaker going bankrupt and being saved, it's not a bailout, it's not anything like that. It's you are now focusing the Bleaker business on the side that is the social club, so that you can, and this is a good segue to lead into what your future plans are, you can do your trade nights, in connection with the Cards and Coffee guys. You can do your combined thing with Loop. You're doing that tonight, I think, right? So
absolutely, kids, and I appreciate you recognizing that. Look, trade nights are free. They come at a cost, not just in the production and food, but the labor. It's physically taxing on a lot of us, and it's a labor of love. Yet I think a year plus later, what we found is the community has rallied around trade nights. We've seen, like you mentioned, some your favorite podcasters flying in to host events with us, which is just, truly incredible. And from that standpoint, we've now been able to really turn back to the hobby on a corporate level, which is what we know how to do. And what I say is really looking at kind of that Mount Rushmore where you have fanatics, you have collectors, you have Golden, you have eBay, and really looking at them as there's who's really driving the upper echelon of the movement in the hobby and working with them. And we've had great, I'd say discussions with eBay, and we're working with them on some of their live stuff and some other events that we have coming up, which has been exciting. Golden, as you've seen, has been really taking advantage of the space for their media days, and we're looking forward to doing some more influencer work around that as well, and really promoting every time they have their big monthly auctions. And the rest of them, as you talk about it, it trickles down. We're having an incredible event tonight with Loop. Loop is coming in and really hosting an elevated version of our trade nights. And I think when we talk about what does the hobby need, we know the hobby loves trade nights. And Loop really stepping up tonight, coming in and making an elevated experience where we're telling everyone to bring the best of what they have. Don't bring your raw singles tonight. Don't bring your modern prism. Really bring what's going to, show off and show up a little bit.
Only collectors come tonight, no flippers or investors. Am I right?
I mean, what's the difference? But yes, look, we've reached out to who we think are the real collectors. We've heard a lot of people say, hey, I got to move my schedule around. We've said this is the one to do it for. But to that extent, why Loop? There's a lot of great Loop benefits that someone else will sell you on. Why Loop to me? They're willing to at least do something that's beneficial for our community. Everybody's getting $100 credit to Loop tonight. That's exciting for us. That's not $20 for your first ride on Uber. That is $100 to go have fun tonight. So everybody's going to get a chance to at least buy something either.
Did you say $20 for your first ride on Uber? Uber's giving rides out to people?
I said Uber, you
oh,
where's your head?
I don't know. It's one headphone. Sometimes one headphone. I'm like, Uber's what?
Man.
$20 off. What's the total price?
Man, everyone's trying to get a Fanatics deal these days. Look at this. I can't get it off the brain.
He has card porn.
How does he know? How does he know?
How does he know?
How does he know?
Can I ask you something, Zablow, real quick? So, sometimes Cage and I, we talk behind the scenes and, the word stressful comes up. And we remind each other, how stressful is this? It's cards and sports, right? Do you ever get frustrated that, or maybe not frustrated is the right word, but whatever word you're going to use, at the end of the day, you really do put on an incredible experience. Anyone who's been at a Bleaker trade night has a great time. Nothing in New York is fucking free. And here you have free food, free beer, free soda for you big guy, free water, free good vibes. Nothing is asked of people. Just bring your cards. Do you ever get a little bit frustrated, stressed that you, maybe not that you don't get more praise, love, or at least understanding from what you're doing from the hobby?
You know what? If you do it for that, Andrew, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. It's hard to remember that and internalize that, but I think what I'm trying to work on is really more internalize that win and know that I did it. And where I'm looking for the gratitude is from corporate America. That's what I know well. Bleaker's become a vessel to people like you, to your community, to the people that come here. Why should they get that for free? And we're not asking them to pay us admission. We're asking them to create something that allows everybody to enjoy. And that covers our cost for tonight, what Loop's stepping up and doing. They're also created these incredibly, really super cool branded backpacks that everyone's going to get as well, that I'm sure they're going to fill up with other things. And
if you have a good time, leave a comment, show some love, share a post, because you're not paying admission. These big corporate companies are, and they only, cut the big checks when they see that there are people who have good experiences.
Well, and they do. I think that's on us right now to really create that opportunity where it's valuable to them. If Loop doesn't feel the engagement tonight, it's a waste of time and money. Yet what we don't do is pray. We gave Loop a solution. Give us $100. We'll get everyone on board. Make it a collector's showcase. Don't make it a trade night. Trade night's a different vehicle. And as we look at those vehicles, what we're excited about is you mentioned the Red Bulls. New York Red Bulls came to us and said, we want to ingratiate ourselves in the hobby. How do we do it? We said that's a big moment for the hobby. What we think, and Fenway did it, was bring that experience to the building. And at the same time, as we've been able to now go out and curate this incredible group of hobbyists and vendors to do this event on June 18th, right before the Red Bulls game, we've asked every vendor to buy 10, 12, 20 tickets. Tickets are super affordable. We have this incredible section that they've given us that'll be indoor, outdoor, that'll really kind of feel like a hobby reunion. But at the same time, we know Red Bulls is getting tickets sold. We know that even though it's not dollar for dollar, everybody's winning. We've also asked them to hit up the LCSs. There's 4 or 5 LCSs within the area that love having the Red Bull truck come with some retired players. It's easy for them to give out a handful of autographs and soccer balls. But to us, a signed soccer ball by Kate or some of those other players is incredible. We're going to have 137 there, and I think Tyler and Lou are going to interview either Kate or some other players. So it's all given back to the hobby. So we're super excited about what we have coming up with them. As we continue to knock out our trade nights, what we're really looking at is the national. And there's really 2 aspects of what's coming up for us. I mean, obviously, Bleecker, we're small potatoes in the grand scheme of things like the national. So we don't really look at Atlantic City as our moment. Did I lose you guys? Cage, you awake?
No. Well, I wanted to pull up this post. So for people that don't know, June 18th is when it is, and it's Red Bulls versus Toronto FC. So that's what I want to pull up.
Awesome. Loving it.
Because a lot of people don't know, and that Instagram algorithm's a bitch. It only 5-10% of your followers see what's really happening.
Hopefully now I think they have it where they're going to do it chronologically again.
Is Elon buying Instagram?
We all hope.
So you got Red Bull, you got Loop, you're leading up to the National, which is what now, 2 months away. Lots of stuff in the hopper, man.
Yeah,
I know you're not allowed to say this.
On?
I know you're not allowed to say this because it's like all your babies. Well, what was your favorite trade night of all the ones you had?
I mean, I'll go more sentimental. The one we had with Card Ladder when the TBS special ran with Ken, and it was featured at Bleaker. And
with John Starks, or was that a different night?
That was the same night with Starks, yeah. And we had the game on, and there's just a lot of serendipitous things. You have the Dallas Mavericks game on, which we know obviously with Christina and kind of what that love is there. Card Ladder was featured in the piece with that Lefko did with Golden on TBS. So that was cool that they were there that night. We were both in it. So I think that was kind of extra special. And there, I tell that story a little bit too. Like you talk about failures and successes. That was a pivotal night. We weren't sure what we were going to do, if we wanted to stay open, if we wanted to give the retail store a try. It was on our mind. We were using it as an extended pop-up space. We really didn't go do the wax thing and really try to build it out. And that night, a lot of things clicked. And we said, we don't know what it is, but we should continue down the path because all of these stars aligned. And that doesn't happen by accident. So that was a very, very special night.
And dude, you've always been super generous. Like I don't live in New York, so I'm not there all the time. But even that night, I remember you gave us some soccer cards to break, and we broke them with one of the little kids that was there, and he knew like all the players, and it was just such a good time. And I think that's something that you created, and no one else does it. Like if you look around, you kind of are, the first to do something like this, and there's hurdles, there are challenges that you run into, but you take them in stride, man, because it's not easy to do what you do.
Well, look, this is still a hobby for me. I'm collecting, 90s inserts that don't have value. Those are the sets that I'm chasing. Yes, people always question, how does Bleaker make money? How does Bleaker make money? Like, have you met Jacob?
Hey, Jacob hustles.
Yeah, like call Eric from PWCC. Like,
called me yesterday.
He met Jacob. Don't worry about what we do with my private collection, with Jacob's private.
You could drop Jacob off in the middle of Sahara. He's going to come home with $100,000 in profit and fully hydrated. Dude, like he hustles. He knows what he's doing.
And like we didn't like find Jess and like tell her to be a breaker. Like Jess has been doing this. We met her, it fit, it vibed, but I know nothing about wax. I collect 80s, 70s sealed wax. I
Right.
open up 94 Fleer Ultra chasing scoring kings and powering the kings inserts.
But what you really do is create experiences for people. And if we could talk about that, you're basically, and I don't know if this is locked in or this is rumors, call this fake news if you want.
Fake news.
There's going to be party buses basically going from New York to Atlantic City.
Can I get on one of those?
Yes, let's talk about it. So for
Can
national,
I host the party bus? Can I be on like a party bus?
You know what? Nice. This is.
Let's go.
We'll call this breaking news.
Woo!
And yes, Cage, we should have this discussion when you guys are ready. But
Yes.
ultimately, we realized that Bleaker, our presence is not in Atlantic City. We're a microscopic thumbnail in that world. But we know a lot of people don't want to fly in to Philly or fly into Newark and take that long drive. So we're trying to do a couple things. One, take advantage of people coming in from all over the country, and really starting a week before the National, every night having programming at Bleaker. So your favorite breakers, your favorite podcasters, your favorite brands. If you're coming to the East Coast leading up to the National, definitely consider coming to New York for a couple days before and popping by any of the different events that we're going to have. And we'll start getting the schedule out there soon. And if you do decide to come up to New York, or you happen to be in the New York area, we are going to have daily shuttles from Bleaker to the National, leaving in the morning and returning late in the evening. We are also working with Blade helicopters, and we will have helicopters right down the block from Bleaker at the Blade Lounge on the west side, landing right on top of the hotel in Atlantic City for some people looking for more of an elevated, what we call 45-minute photo journey on the way down there. So we're working on that right now. Thankfully, we found very affordable solutions. We are talking to a couple.
Are we allowed to vape on the bus and the helicopter?
For $250, we're allowed to drink. So let's start seeing what like $500 gets us, Andrew. Okay.
Let's go.
But more importantly, we're talking to a couple of the companies we mentioned, and we'll be reaching out to a handful more. And we're looking for partners. It's not expensive to get these buses and these executive mini buses and these Sprinter vans together. So we're putting them together. We're making them super affordable. We will have some communication in the next few days, but please hit us up if you're looking for a ride from the New York area down to the National. Please hit us up if you'd be looking to sponsor or partner with us on a bus or any of the helicopter rides. With Blade, we also get access to their Blade Lounge, so can really create that into an experience. And you can just imagine what we'll end up programming. So yes, Cage, it would be fun to see which bus you can host down to the National.
I think an idea is coalescing in this big.
Let's go.
Good. So we got a little bit of that.
I got an idea. Yeah.
So message Zablow and message Bleaker, but really, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, don't think of National as a 3-4 day event at Atlantic City. Think of it as a full week-long event where you fly into New York, you enjoy New York City, you have easy transportation, whether fucking helicopter. I've never flown in a helicopter, or a bus to AC. You could come back to your hotel in New York. You could stay overnight in AC, then come back the next day to New York and make it a full-on experience. I love it because a lot of us on the East Coast know what AC is about, and a little bit too much AC is a little bit too much AC.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it sucks to have to fly in and drive an hour, and especially after what it's like lugging home those big cases. So we want to try to make it as much of an opportunity for people to come up here as possible. And we have reached out to a handful of the right breakers that we know don't come to New York, the right podcasters and influencers. Even people that you bring up, who do we have a great time with? When Mojo from Sacramento came out, like his energy is crazy. I think he likes us more than we do. So we've said to Mojo, like, hey, the only thing more fun than Mojo coming would be pairing Mojo with someone just as fun as Mojo. And let's really pop that off. When we had Ryan Card Collector come and little kids are here crying because they get to meet Ryan, or, similar scenarios like that, that shit's kind of cool. You know, that's the type of stuff that makes it, you know, I don't want to say we do this for the kids because the kids in the West Village have more money than we do.
Correct.
You know, there's I don't feel bad for any of those kids.
I cry when I meet some of the kids that shop in your store. Yeah, I want to be them.
Yeah, trust me, not the ones in handcuffs. So, you know.
You know what that makes me think of? Warren the Shoplifter. Do you know what movie that's from, either of you guys? Warren the Shoplifter?
Trading Places.
His name was not really Warren, but he said his name was Warren Beatty, and they kept calling him Warren for the rest of the movie.
Okay, I love the movie, but I didn't put it together. It's
Empire Records.
I thought you said Trading Places. That's right.
No,
I don't know. I wouldn't be able.
Liv Tyler and Renee Zellweger and, you know, a whole bunch. They worked in a record store when that was still a thing. You know, Andrew, you remember records? So
I only know Renee Zellweger from Chicago, which is actually incredible.
You don't know her from Jerry Maguire?
Now, Andrew, do you know Liv Tyler?
I think Tyler's going to do an incredible job interviewing that.
Not Tyler, Liv Tyler.
Lou and Tyler will do an okay episode. not terrible. Yeah. It'll be about a 7 out of 10.
Cage, he doesn't know who Liv Tyler is?
He might not. I mean, he still thinks that Mickey Mantle and Marilyn Monroe were married.
He's got a decade on. He's got a decade on me, so I get it. I get it.
Listen, he also is always asking me like what I thought of like when George Mikan played. Like I had front row seats. So was he really as much of a beast as I say? You know, the ages of fun, man. It's good. It's all right.
Nah, look, I think that's the fun of this hobby too, right? You know, half these people weren't even born when I'm collecting the inserts that no one's going to be collecting. You know, I'm on sportslots.com chasing down certain things like that. And then Jacob, Jess, and I are out either flipping wax, chasing mantles, looking at, you know, kind of what else we can do there. But ultimately, what this does, it gives us a couple key things. It makes us a little bit leaner so we could focus on what we do well. Number one. Number two, we talk about expansion a lot. There's a lot of desire to see a social club like this in a lot of other cities. A relationship with Cards and Coffee could potentially provide that for us at a faster pace, as we could potentially work on a model where a heavy part of their retail is controlled by them, and we have this experience side. But does that mean you should expect us doing that with them? Absolutely not. As much as I'd love their support on tonight's event, it's not a Cards and Coffee event. I do hope we can collaborate with them further down the road. But I think we got to get to know each other and figure out where it works well. I've gotten to know Mo and the team there really well, and Drew, who's running it. What's exciting for me is the amount of people that reached out to me to tell me how much they love Mo, how much they love working with him. And I see just a lot of people that probably don't want to publicly say that they're a big fan of what they do. But, man, the people that reached out to me, you know, definitely gave me that reassurance.
You can put me on the list. I mean, I met Dan in person at Mint. Awesome guy. You know, so I'm throwing cash down on a table and basically buying someone's entire showcase. We've had conversations with Mo. Lenhart is the man. Love that guy. Kindred spirit when it comes to Mickey Mantle rookies. And, I mean, look, yeah, it's a polarizing thing, and there are people out there who probably message me about this and be like, what the hell are you doing? But
Gunnar is going to be in those DMs hard tonight.
He is, but
we love you, Gunnar.
I mean,
you know what, Cage? I got a quarterback in Cleveland that I get the same DMs about. So
yeah, but I mean, listen, my take on it is I can only go by what shut funny. I can only go by what my dealings are. You know what I mean? And my dealings are, that's all I can speak on. And so far they've been good. But I will say this: previously we used to consider, coffee breakers, the Cars and Coffee, and you guys kind of like Biggie and Tupac. It was the East Coast, West Coast vibe. And, we never got to see it, but that could have been a cool merger. That could have been a cool, obviously the little bad blood there, right? But that could have been a cool duo right there.
Where the producer's not in the videos, dancing on the tracks, come to Bleaker Trading.
I mean, I'd like to say that, I thought it was a good idea for this type of a merger. I mean, maybe.
Look, the way they're raising money, I wouldn't be against it. I think what we look at as our roadmap is this community. And to your point, Cage, the amount of people that have reached out to me to say, and Andrew, you asked this question, does it get frustrating? it only takes 2 people to say thank you. It only takes 1 person to help clean up. It only takes 1 person to say, hey, if you charged for trade night, I would gladly pay because it's a value. It only takes 10 people to tell me if this was a paid membership to Bleaker and I could come use this space to cut deals and watch games when I open my wax and go to more elevated experiences hosted by people like you and other names we've mentioned today. That is where the roadmap seems very clear to us right now.
It's something that came so natural, like, oh, come to Bleaker. Remember when you're starting, come to Bleaker. You're so welcoming. Sometimes when things are free, people almost don't appreciate it, right?
But what did Gary teach us?
Oh, yeah, you were.
I'm just gonna,
patience. Patience.
No, if you give it
5 TikToks a day, minimum 5 TikToks a day.
Yo,
what did Gary teach us?
What did Gary teach us?
Blueberries are awesome. I don't know. What did Gary teach us?
By the way, is there anyone better than those 2 kids?
By the way, yes, the person who's better is Gary, because talk about a self-deprecation. Talk about, like, being able to make fun of yourself, right? And say, all right, you know what? This is great. Most people will be like, I got these idiots. I don't sound like that. Instead, he's like, bring them on out.
If you could have went to VCon and you didn't because you weren't sure, you bet against the one person that you should never bet against. And the one question that was asked leading up to VCon was like, well, what's it going to be and what's going on? It's like, it hit me in the face when I got there. Like, dude, it's Gary V. Everybody's going to show up just because he asked them to, because he's been doing it for them for so long. How are they all not going to fly into Minnesota for a day? And Goldberg was there, and he'll tell you.
I do a balance.
The accent.
Minnesota?
No,
Minnesota.
it's just
Minnesota impressed me, Cage. Minnesota
I
impressed
agree.
me. Great food, by the way.
What people out there need to know,
like ice fishing?
No. Good.
What people out there need to know, when Cage and I'll speak for myself, don't go to events. It's not because we don't want to go to every event. I'm very introverted. Like, people see me, they think I'm like outgoing. I'm a very introverted person. It takes me a lot to even leave my house.
Makes 3 of us. I barely go to Bleaker.
He's like, why are you I'm being serious?
Second time
I'm being vulnerable. Like, I'm kind of a homebody, but I know that's my weakness, and I'm very much trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. Like, go do this stuff. It's always fun when you go. It is always fun.
Yo, VCon was access galore to everybody, and everybody was approachable.
Was there. I didn't know that was him.
You know what? Everyone was approachable. Everyone was in a good mood. The energy of Gary really resonated through. And my plane got canceled, and I was thrilled that I got to spend more time with the people there.
How diverse was the community too, right? From all walks of life, all colors, all shapes and sizes, all ages. The most diverse crowd I've ever seen.
Very diverse, but when you got to the collectible section, the who's who showed up. You had, Rally had, and I'm biased, I'm an investor in Rally, but they had an incredible display. But everyone from your table, which I thought was brilliant. I remember when I saw you, I was like, what are you doing here? And then I saw the table of V-Friends cards, and you were like the only table of Free Friends cards, I think, right? And I'm thinking to myself,
we had Gary's impersonator rip a pack of cards with us, by the way.
And this was a guy who literally brought ice to the iceless Eskimos. It was incredible. No one else had V-Friends. I was blown away at the ingenuity, but I had a great time. I met Sasha. I met Chris Brigandy, who's up the block. And it's like, Brigandy is a vision of what we want to be, right? Like, they have the coolest things you've ever seen in New York City, coolest collectibles ever. We want to be the downtown version of them. So it's great to meet Chris Brigandy. I met a bunch of the comic people. I met Vincent from Comic Link, and just learned a ton about what's going on in the comic space. But no, they brought out a lot of the good people. It was fun. I guess, what's the next big event then? Because Dallas Card Show, I heard Rock too. What's next after that?
This is some national. There's a Toronto show, but there needs to be one central repository or one central place where you could go to, like, view shows, because there's a lot of shows all the time, but I don't know. Toronto apparently is.
I haven't seen that yet. I saw Leighton Sheldon put a feature on his website. that you could find a break. And I think it tries to, do all that from everyone else, but haven't found it for the show calendar yet. If anyone knows it, hit us up. But yeah, I think there's got to be one big event between here and National. That will be cool.
What I love, what I judge people by is what they say and what they do, right? Like there's a lot of people, and I remember this from playing soccer, like there's like, I'm going to train all summer. I'm going to come back and be in the best shape, and I'm going to kill it next year. And they really don't, right? And then there's other people who don't say anything and do. What I love about you is what you truly say you're going to do, you're going to do. And your vision from day one was you never talked about retail. Honestly, I don't think you ever like selling products. You like giving them away.
No,
I think
worst day ever. I had a father-son rip a box of Prism, got nothing, bought another one, got nothing. I hid. I felt so bad. Well, sorry.
No, I mean it's true because what I think of you is you're I had a best buddy. He worked for Adidas Originals in experiential marketing. He loved creating experiences to build an emotional connection with brands. And it reminds me of what you do. And I think you created an incredible experience. In the rap game, you guys talked about Suge Knight, I believe in the beginning, like the streets fuck with you because you truly put on really, really good experiences and ask nothing in return. And I think that this partnership, I always thought of it as Coffee Breakers, Bleaker was a partnership where they run retail, you guys run events. And that's the best for the hobby because now you have a retail store that's run by professionals who run a retail store. I don't know what their comps are, all that stuff. You could talk to them. And you have people who are the best of the best at creating experiences for the hobby, which is Bleaker. And I'm very, very excited. So by the time people listen to this, we have Loop Trade Night tonight. We have the Red Bull Arena June 16th.
June 18th.
And say again?
June 18th.
June 18th, I apologize. And which, by the way, the Red Bull Arena is gorgeous. One of the nicest MLS arenas ever, and very easy to get to in Harrison. I went to, I can't remember their name, but I went to a concert there once. It was an awesome concert. And then we have National, which is going to be a week, buses,
Lilith Fair,
helicopters,
Lilith Fair. The road to the National, we're calling it.
I like that.
So we're looking forward to that. That's it. It'll be a refresh of some Bleaker merch. So we'll make sure to have a ton of that available as well.
If you haven't asked from the hobby, we got record listeners. I don't know why people still listen to us, but I think we do a pretty good job. We bring on awesome guests. Every once in a while, they like when Cage and I banter. What would you ask of, the few thousand people that tune in on a daily basis? How can they support? I know I'm putting you on the spot. Feel free to hit the bait before you answer.
I should. That's a good question, Andrew. I'm a good on the spot person,
especially for the local people. Mark put some ideas out there about the future of his side of the location downtown New York, right? The social club, right? Send them some messages. Send us some messages. What would you be more inclined to see happen there as far as a model? Would you attend trade nights if they were, a cover charge like card shows charge? Would you go there if there was a cover charge for the card show? Would you rather it become, a little more private where it's a social club and it's a membership fee that you charge a membership fee and those trade nights are part of the membership, sort of like a golf club membership? What do you think? What do you think is the right path for Mark? He's not going to listen to any of you because it's his business and screw you. It's not.
And everyone who works with me will tell you I don't listen.
But I'd be curious to see what people say. I think they're both interesting ideas.
Look, what I want to be careful is I've never asked anything from the people. What I want to ask is to keep the activity high because I think that keeps the pressure and it keeps the opportunity for corporate America to step up. The National needed help. It was a very antiquated show. The people that are stepping up across the board, this National is going to feel almost like South by or feel like Art Basel. Like that's what we deserve. So I'd say if you like what we do, if you enjoy what we bring, stay active because we're pressuring corporate America to not make that an expense that has to come your way. if the eBays, the Goldens, the collectors, if they continue to support us the way we are and the hobby keeps growing, their budgets will continue to open up and, get more attention. So that's what we're hoping for. We hope we never have to turn around to the customer unless we're providing different type of access. But for the general stuff, I think tonight's a great example. These companies have raised a lot of money and we want to see them succeed. It's not about getting checks out of them to get checks out of them. But at the same time, they're getting a lot of checks from the community. Maybe it's small checks across the board, but it adds up. So, it should be a two-way street, and we're excited to be that vessel.
Something I've noticed in this internet age is because we kind of see what everyone else is doing, and normally we only see people's success and not failure. We think everyone else is winning, and we are all hungry to also win. But and our community does a really good job of this. When you go to an event, when you meet someone, go that extra mile.
I think I killed your camera, Mark. My apologies.
No.
When
you meet someone, when you go to an event, when you have a good experience, go that extra mile and send a little DM, send a message and say, hey guys, I love that experience, because I think right now in today's world, we're all starving for people to believe in us. I really believe that. And I've said that at the cage quite a few times. So if we could build as a community that belief in each other, that support within each other, that's strength. That survives any recession, any depression. That's really the foundation of any good industry, hobby, whatever you want to call it.
Well, Andrew, I'll leave you with this. And you guys should know this. It's kind of how we met, I'd say. A lot of what we're very proud of that we do in the hobby are things we do with people or that we do to elevate people that no one will ever know about. The people that work here get to feel good about it, and it's a decision we choose to make. That's good enough. We have enough of those DMs and text messages from people we admire or people that we're excited to put on that have explained how introductions that we've made for them at Bleaker or corporate America opportunities we brought their way are life-changing, and maybe not financially, but a lot of what you talk about, Andrew, the happiness, the pride, the feeling that they're on the right path. So we know in that sense we're doing the right thing.
1,000%.
We have what we think are great people that are not just very passionate about the brand, but they're super passionate about the hobby. And most importantly, they're cut from the cloth of they're passionate about people and just doing the right thing. And this hobby is so built on trust that if that's not where we live, there's no point in being here. And again, this is not how I make my living. I hope it is, truthfully. This is why I love it to be it. And so until it is, it has to be dope. Prince always said his biggest fear was being normal.
Did you buy the Prince outfit in the Golden thing? You wear it, and next time you come on the show, you could wear the Prince outfit and tell us the Prince quotes?
No, I didn't. But, some friends left VCon for a day and went to Paisley Park. And I was upset that I did not do that.
See? I mean, if I went to Minnesota, I would have had to make sure I took a trip to absolutely nowhere because there's no place I want to go in Minnesota.
You're so
Why are you such a hater right now?
Hold on. Cage, can you do me a favor? Can you Google a Juicy Lucy burger?
All right, I'll Google
it. And then tell me if you're not getting on the next smoker out the. I
might. I mean, listen, it sounds awesome. It sounds really good. I'll tell you.
I'm pretty positive it's called Matt's.
Cage is down 20 pounds. Dude, he's getting fit for national. He looks good. He's drinking water.
22 now.
20. Let's go. And not only that, you've inspired other people to kind of follow.
Matt's Bar and Grill. That looks good. That actually looks good.
Now, a Juicy Lucy burger, it's two patties and they stuff cheese inside. Yeah. And when you bite it, the cheese explodes.
Woo!
Now, if you go to Matt's, get a grilled cheese on the side.
And then your heart does.
Get a grilled cheese on the side as well. That's
a grilled cheese on the side of your burger?
Yeah, just for fun. Split it with a couple folks. They do it. They make it clean. A grilled cheese on a burger grill always has a little bit of smoke to it.
I agree. Listen, we can talk about food all the time. Get a little food truck going at the National. Forget about it. I won't even stop talking about Bomb Pops. Bomb Pops the best thing ever. Whatnot Bomb Pops. It was great.
That's what's fun about having a marketing agency. We own a couple food trucks. We own a couple Airstreams. We own a couple, of those type of vehicles. So anytime you want to rebrand one, Cage, let us know.
Airstream. Andrew's telling me, G6. He wants the G7.
Yeah.
That's what
I
he's telling
really
me.
want a private jet, man. So bad. Oh man, you have no idea. That's my. That's
Oh
my.
no, I meant Airstream trailer.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Gulfstream, Avstream, it's all the same.
Gulfstream is the
Gulfstream.
Zablow. One thing we want to do, and I'm going to start doing this more often, is like giving flowers to people that or people, businesses, whatever, that are doing really well. Anyone in the hobby you want to, give a shout out to, give flowers to, like really
virtual,
praise for
digital flowers via praise
like
on
an
the
NFT.
podcast. Not actually a flower, although
no.
People do give flowers to people still.
Yeah, I would just say just the team here at Bleaker. I mean, starting with Jess and Jacob. Like I said, I'm here once a month, twice a month. I'm nowhere. There's nothing that survives without both of them. None of these ideas get executed. No money gets changed hands on any trades or sales. No network gets built that I can elevate on. I'm working 10 hours a day at a marketing agency. I have 2 young kids. My time is spent on Clubhouse, really connecting with the hobby. That's probably the best place to find out what we're doing, because I am very honest and transparent there. But my flowers is to, really them. And
cool.
and the greater team that transitioned over to Cards and Coffee, and really keeping this vision going, because they got the vision more than me now. They care about it just as much, if not more than me, and that's something I'm super fucking grateful for. So no, I'm sure there's a ton of other people that I really should be talking about, Andrew, but I'd be amiss if I really didn't recognize the 2 of them and the greater team around them. They've really carried out not just my vision; they've made it their vision.
I want to give flowers to our community. You guys, whether you agree or disagree with us, you guys are level-headed. You always speak your mind. I think we have the best community in the sports card hobby. And because of that, we're able to get amazing guests like this, where you guys get the facts, not hearsay, not what someone else's opinion is. You get the facts of what's going on in the hobby. And that's a testament to all you guys listening, subscribing, commenting on our show. And a little bit, I think people like us, so there is a little bit of that. But
well,
really
I give you a lot of credit. I'm going to cut you off again, Andrew, because I say this a lot, but I think it's important. I always like that you guys want the facts. Nobody's called me to ask me a question. Now, either they know and don't feel the need to clarify, but when we saw each other, it was the first thing that came up, and the first conversation was, "Yo, we got to get this together." Obviously, other YouTubers decided to try to be funny about it, but, I always respect that about you guys. I always wait when there's breaking news in the hobby, something real happens. Like, if they come on your show, I'm excited. You guys, I think Sports Card Nonsense is starting to do it, in a place where they're not scared to jump right in and ask the tough questions. You guys do it daily, and I commend the hell out of you for that. I don't know how you do it, but I always know if I get an opportunity to come on here, make sure I have something to talk about. And, make sure that I'm going to be extremely honest and transparent. And I love that about you guys.
Luca Nation, we love you. And we do it.
Cage, do you have any flowers?
I'm giving it to myself.
All right, good.
I mean, I don't even care. I mean, I'd like to thank absolutely nobody.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month. And many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a PO box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.